Everyone who works with Excel makes mistakes. It's either we are misspelling a formula name, or we are accidentally deleting an entire column, or maybe we are deleting important cells. And when we make this kind of mistakes, Excel tries to get our attention by sending us error messages, codes that tell us, hey, you have just made a mistake. There is an error in this line of code, as it were. So how do we differentiate between these error messages? How do we tell one from another? And how do we resolve them? Because we cannot just leave them that way. We cannot just leave them looking like that. So how do we resolve error messages? Okay, so you are welcome to my channel. My name is Blessing, and in today's video I'll be teaching you the different types of error messages, the different type of errors in Excel, and how to handle each and every one of them. So as I said earlier, when working with formulas in Excel, errors can happen. It could be because of an incorrect input, it could be because we are writing a wrong cell reference, or probably an invalid operation altogether. Errors do occur. But understanding these errors actually will help you troubleshoot quickly and help you more accurately have a very accurate spreadsheet. So Excel displays different error messages. So we are going to look at them one after the other. I have listed about 5 of them here. This video is going to be in 2 parts. In this first part, we'll just consider these 5, and in the next part, we'll look at probably another 5. So these are the 5 error messages that Excel often shows, very common ones, and we will look at what each of them means and how we can resolve them. So the first one we have here is the division by zero message. You are going to see it appear like this: #div/0. So when you see this error message, what does it mean? It means that the formula you are trying to enter is being divided, or a cell is being divided by 0 or by an empty cell. Let's look at an example. So I have this little table here where I have the names of students and their scores in mathematics and English, and here I'm going to enter their total, and here I'm going to enter their average, and then I'm going to try to find out what percentage of the total score is mathematics, and so on. Okay, so let's say we want to get that percentage. I haven't entered the total. To get a percentage in mathematics, I would have to say 90, which is the mathematics score for the student, all over the total here, but there is nothing here. So if I say cell C3, which is actually the mathematics for Uzioma, divided by cell E3, and I say enter, it gives me a division by 0 error. So it's saying, hey, you are trying to divide these stuffs by 0. There is nothing in this cell actually, so you have to enter something. Okay, so if eventually probably I come here and I sum everything up, and I say sum C3 and D3, yeah, the error messages all disappear. It does the sum for the others, and the error messages all disappear. So how do we handle this error message? Just as you have seen me do, ensure that you are not dividing by any empty cell. Make sure that your cells you are dividing by have a valid entry, a valid number. And if any of those numbers is 0, let me just say I don't have anything here, and it's 0, definitely it's going to return back that error message. So ensure you get rid of every zeros that you are. Make sure you don't divide by 0. That's just a simple way of doing that. Another way of handling this error is to use the IFERROR function. I'm going to show you how to use that. So let us go back to the beginning where we have this. So I could wrap this formula in an IFERROR function. So that IFERROR function, how does it work? I will show you very quickly. Let us write the syntax here just quickly, then I will use that. So I will say if error, here it is. Sorry, I beg your pardon. So if error, and the first thing it says is, let me come over here. What value do you want to evaluate if it's an error? So I'm going to enter that, wrap this value inside there, and then what message would you want to display if there is an error? So let's just do that very quickly. So I'm going to say if this is an error, instead of displaying this error message, display something else, because probably you are sending this to a client. The client may not understand what div by 0 blah 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 means, so you may have to make it look cool. So I'm going to come over here and I will wrap everything here in an if error function. So I say if error. So if everything here is an error, if C3 divided by this is an error, I would want it to say division by, oh, let's just say simple, there's an error here. Okay, and then you close your quote, and so quickly, instead of me having that error message, it just says, hey, there is an error here, there's an error here. But immediately I begin to sum, and if I add my sum and I say I need you to sum C3, I beg your pardon, and D3, the error message disappears. If for any reason I come here and I say 0, it gives me back my error message. My customized error message is an error here. Okay, so that's another way of handling it. If probably you just want to set that in place just in case an error pops up, you can use the if error statement. In fact, we use this if error statement for several other errors in Excel. Yeah, but if you want to be more specific, we'll look at another error message, another way of handling more specific errors. Okay, let's go to the second one, which is the NA error. The NA error, it actually means not available. Probably the value you are trying to turn up is not available. Now, for example, let me say I want to look up. Okay, because this error actually occurs mostly when you are using lookup functions. You are trying to look up something, a particular value, and it is not available. So Excel will say, hey, that is not available. So it's going to say NA. So let me say I want to enter a student's name here, and whatever name I enter here, I want the student's mass score to be displayed here. So I'm going to use my VLOOKUP. Oh, sorry. Why am I hitting my enter key instead of the tab? So I'm going to say VLOOKUP. Let me use it here. And what's lookup value? I want it to look up whatever I enter here. So I6, and it's going to say the table array. Please, if you have not watched the video on lookup functions, please, I have a video on that. It's a very exciting video. Please make sure you watch it. Okay, so this is my table array, all of this, and it's asking me the column index, what I want to return. I want to return the mass score, so that's the column 2. And the next thing is asking me, do I want an approximate match or an exact match? So false for exact match. And once I say enter, it's telling me, hey, not available, because I have not entered anything here yet. So once I enter Ozioma's name, it returns Ozioma's mass score. If I enter Daniel, it returns Daniel's mass score. Let's take a name that's not there. Ikena. No score for Ikena. So this is the error message it turns out. So you can also handle it by making sure that every information you are entering here is available. That's one way you handle the NA error. Make sure that every information you are entering, you are trying to look up, make sure it's available. Another way of doing that is ensure that there are no spaces. For example, let me get rid of this. Let me see if I have a space in Ozioma here, and I try just looking up Ozioma alone without the space. It is still going to give me not available. So we are going to have a video on cleaning data. So ensure you clean up your data, remove the spaces, and once we do that, it gives us the value for Ozioma. So ensure you do that. Very important. Another way is to wrap this function either in the if error function, wrap your formula in the if error function, or there is another function you can wrap it in, which is the IFNA. IFNA is specifically built for NA errors. So let's use that. We have seen the if error already, so let's use the IFNA for this. So I'm saying if all the things I look up, if what I look up with this formula is not available, kindly say name not available. All right, so if everything I look up with this function is not available, just tell me name not available. So here what I'm looking up is fine. So let's check Ikena again this time, and it says, hey, name not available. So this is a better way, instead of just having if, the NA rather, and probably your clients cannot read it or parents cannot read that. It's better to wrap it up this way. Okay, let us go to the very next error, which is the value error. Okay, the value error, it comes up when probably you are trying to operate different wrong data types. For example, let me say I wanted to add this value and this value, but I mistakenly asked Excel to add this and this. So instead of D3 and C3, I am saying C3 and B3. Let's do that here and you will see what happens here. So I am saying sum C3, C3 and B3. Now B3 is a string, it is letters, it is not a numerical value. So if I ask Excel to add C3 and B3, it's going to throw an error. So what happened here? C3 and B3, I am not supposed to have anything here. So what happened exactly? All right, so because I was using the sum function, so immediately Excel detected that B3 is an invalid entry. It just skipped it and returned the value only for this. But let's not use sum. Let's just go directly and add them. So let us say, I'm coming. Let me go back to this. And let me say, instead of using the sum function, let me just say C3 plus B3. Cool. So yeah, here we have our error. It is saying value error. Value in the sense that, hey, one of the entries, one of the cells you are trying to add with the other one is actually an invalid data type. So it's saying the value is wrong. So all you just have to do is make sure you're adding or you are entering correct values. Okay, so once again, you can wrap it up in an error message, or rather in an if error function, or yeah, if error function. We do justice to this error and make sure it's fine. So let us go back, and yep, where are we? We are here. Yeah. So let's go to the next one, which is a reference error. Now the reference error happens when probably I'm referencing a wrong cell, or the cell I used in a calculation was deleted. Take for example, remember this cell, this I used E3 and C3, so I am working with this and this. What happens if I delete either the column C or column E? Let's delete column E first, and once we delete that, it tells us an error. Now why are we having this? Let us remove what we wrapped it in. So we just have the error message. So I'm going to have this, yeah, and I will also have this removed. So I'm just saying at the 3, right? Cool. No more error message, or no more if error message. Yeah, so I want to delete this. So immediately I do that, you will see it gives me a reference error. It is saying, hey, the one of the columns you were working with using getting the results for this columns or for these cells is actually missing. So once I return it, I get back my value. So the reference formula here, the reference error here, reminds us that, hey, a particular cell we are referring to, or a column we are using in a calculation has been deleted, or it cannot be found. There are several ways you can handle this. Okay, you can make sure you avoid deleting cells that you are using. Avoid it completely, and once you discover that you have deleted a cell that you are using, undo immediately so that you can come back to where you can return to the condition before you accidentally deleted the cell or the entire column. Okay, the last formula we have here is the name formula. Now what does this do? Just as it signifies name, if probably let me see, what did I do here? Yeah, I used the sum function here. If for any reason probably I misspell sum, probably instead of sum I say son, yeah, it tells me, hey, name, you have a name issue here, you didn't spell your function. There is no function by the name son. All right, even if I omit the and or whatever, still same thing. So ensure you spell your formulas, your functions correctly to give you the right kind of the result you're actually looking for. Okay, spell check your spellings very well. Check your spellings very well. Where you need a quote, make sure you use the quote. inside a function, if you are supposed to use a quote somewhere, make sure you do that, and don't omit anything. Don't omit anything. Use the correct spellings for your functions. All right, with that, we come to the end of this, the first part of this video. In the second part, we're going to be looking at a few other errors. Let me not get ahead of myself. We will look at them and how to handle them as well. Thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this. Please, if you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to like, subscribe if you haven't, share with your friends, and always come back for more. Remember to hit the notification bell so that you can be informed when I post a new video. Thank you so much. See you in the next video. Bye.